All right, baby. Positivity is everything. As we say, maintain your disposition at an optimistic vibrational state of gratitude. In other words, be grateful. Welcome to WSMESM Enlightenment Radio. This is the Spotlight. Comes at you every Sunday right here on SM Enlightenment Radio. And as you always know, the Spotlight is all about bringing you something or somebody that you need to know about. And I got three somebodies that you need to know about right here, all talking about a very, very, very interesting organization that is developing and growing in Massachusetts, all right, in the town of Mansfield. And hey, I'm going to bring the three folks on and we're going to talk about it right here. All right, I'm going to welcome Nicole, Marjorie, and Tyler right here to the Spotlight on WSMESM Enlightenment Radio. What's going on, folks? How y'all doing?
Hello. Happy to be here.
Hi, we're doing okay.
Happy Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Absolutely. 100%. Happy Sunday.
Even though, this is a program that people may see on different days or hear. But, hey, we record this on Sunday and it airs on Sunday on the radio here. But hey, I want to talk about the reason why we're all here. Okay. And that is an organization that you formed called the Road to Diversity and Understanding. And my initial point person for this whole thing has been Nicole. All right. And Nicole, the way that I got to meet and deal with Nicole was through promoting and also DJing Abolition Day, all right, that they have in Mansfield, Massachusetts. Now, I want to start with you, Nicole. I want to start by giving the folks a little bit of a history of what that whole thing is all about. I know that we've done a podcast in the past with Tyler, who is also here joining us. But I want to initially start with the actual history of the Abolition Day event and the reason why you are all having that, because Mansfield has a lot of history, all right, has a lot of Black history, all right, coming right out of there. And, this is also a part of, the organization that you have. All right. So let's start with that. Nicole?
Okay. So if you know Deborah Britt, who's also a Mansfield resident and founder and curator of the National Black Doll Museum of History and Culture, which is where I first met you, Doc.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so that connection helped us have you over at our event at Abolition Day. Deborah Britt is a historian as well, and she did a lot of research on Mansfield's Black history, our history, and by doing so, discovered that we had a historical event happen in October 10th, I believe 1836. I'm not quite sure if it's 18, around there. 36 is the date that's sticking in my head. I didn't bring those notes with me. Sorry about that. So we had a fairly big abolitionist history here. There was an abolitionist named Isaac Stearns, who was a resident of Mansfield. We have Stearns Ave, I believe, named after him. And he had organized an abolitionist speaker to come to the Congregational Church in Mansfield. Trying to think of the name of the speaker of that date, but it's failing my memory right now. That night that they had that speaker come, there was a bit of a riot that happened. Like, people came to shut down the speaker. They didn't want it to go on. And there was like a fight that ensued, and the sheriff and whatever, and they had to whisk the abolitionists to a safe house. But after that, what we are celebrating is that 200 more people in Mansfield signed on to the Anti-Slavery Society, so that Mansfield had one of the largest Anti-Slavery Society memberships in the state of Massachusetts, which is saying a lot because it's a small town. So the fact that like most of us were signed up, you know, based on history, is something to be proud of. And
Absolutely.
Deborah decided that was something that we as a town should commemorate and remember every year and talk about, and not stop there with our past, but also to talk about our present and our future. So she created a holiday called Abolition Day, and we try to host it around that same date every year, October 10th. In the past few years, we've been moving it to not coincide with Indigenous Peoples Day weekend, just because there's so much other stuff going on. We try to
Right.
kind of set ourselves aside apart from that. So Deborah started that holiday in, I believe, 2016 or 17, and she would invite speakers and DJs and dancers, and she'd have her museum used to be on North Main Street in Mansfield before COVID. And so she'd open the museum and do tours. And so that she hosted every year until COVID. And COVID, you know, was a big hit to a lot of businesses, but it was for the doll museum as well,
Right.
obviously, because you couldn't have people inside. And so they ended up closing those doors during COVID. Happily, they are reopened at the Emerald Square Mall. I think
That's right.
and you're over there with her. So they did reopen, so that's good. And I think in around 2021 is when Deborah asked the Road to Diversity and Understanding to take over Abolition Day. So she's still involved. She's one of our speakers every year. We like to highlight her work that she, you know, created this great event. But we do want to keep the event going. So we have hosted it since 2021. It's gotten a little bigger each year. And that's the history of that.
Yeah, you know, well, the reason why I wanted you to speak about that is because I just find it interesting that, you know, Mansfield is just rich with history of, you know, people really fighting for, you know, equality and justice, you know, and the fact that you all as Mansfield residents, you know, are still continuing to carry the torch to really, you know, to stand up for folks, you know, and you know, I think that's beautiful. So the road to diversity and understanding, like where the origins of that organization, how did that start?
Yeah. So in 2018, you can we'll tell the story and we'll see how it sticks in. But
Yeah.
so in 2018, in Foxborough, there was a Race Amity Day was being organized by the churches there, and I used to go to the Unitarian Church in Foxborough, and so we were invited to help out with that. And so it was being held at the Orpheum in Foxborough, and I had consulted also with Deborah and Felicia from the Black Doll Museum, and I was telling them about it, and they also wanted to be involved. So they also joined it. We all had this really great event where they did, we had some of the state reps come and local representatives talking. So Race Amity was about that holiday, you know, is about cross-cultural friendship. And so that was the focus, and it had a really big, like, a lot of people came out. So it was held at the Orpheum in Foxborough in June of 2018. Around the same time, I had been walking our new puppy with my then 6 and 8-year-old in our neighborhood, and we came across a dumpster that had the N-word spray painted on it. And that kind of really stopped me in my tracks. we had met a new family in our complex. We live in a condo complex. They were a Black family. They had the kids the same age as my kids, and like the day before we just met them, and this dumpster was like closer to their unit than ours, and I was just kind of like, when is this going to stop? I don't want these little kids seeing this. Like, they shouldn't have to feel that this way where we live ever, in their lives. And so, like, Deborah Britt's been a mentor to me, and my kids and I, we went to the Black Doll Museum in Mansfield like all the time. And so I, called her up and told her about it. And just kind of, with her, kind of, I wanted to do more. I didn't want to just sit around saying, I don't want this to happen. I wanted to, how do I educate our communities, or how do we raise awareness, or how do we stop this? And what can we do to make it feel like a place for everybody, that everyone belongs here, and that we shouldn't have to walk around and be punched in the gut with words that we shouldn't be looking at.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's, I mean, I think it's awesome because it's easy to sort of just turn the other cheek and just keep it moving. Say, oh, it's just, but to stand up for something. I'm interested also to knowing, from Marjorie and Tyler, like if you've had personal experiences that kind of sparked you to want to be a part of this type of activism. And I want to start with Marjorie first. How you doing, Marjorie?
Oh, I'm okay. How are you?
Okay. So I
Um,
know that you're one of the core members here of the organization. Um, how did your involvement? How did you get involved?
I got kind of like involved. I met Nicole in 2024, and from there we click automatically, friendly and everything else. And she spoke of TRDU, and I said, okay, sounds like it's interesting. So I got involved, and she can't pull me out of it now. It's too late. So,
Yeah. So now, did you have any personal experiences in Mansfield, or I mean, uh, being Black, we have
what
experiences that sort of
what
want
I've
us
learned
to.
about Mansfield is
Uh huh.
that the folks, the majority of the folks are very friendly. However, they still have a mindset of the ancient time and way
Mm.
back then. So I've had several encounters, and even up to recently, because I find out that certain words, the word discrimination seems to scare a lot of people.
Mm.
There was a meeting, and I came in the middle towards the end of the meeting, and my question basically was, um, the discrimination. If you feel like you've been discriminated against, where does one go particularly to put in a complaint?
Right.
And yeah, so at that point, the host was like, okay, we could talk about this one on one, and I agreed because I was the only black person sitting there. So, which is fine with me. I've always been the exceptional of everything. So now, I mean, really, seriously. And the conversation continued last week, last Friday, and was based on, oh, okay, you could have discussed the word, when you said discrimination, you could have said it one on one with me. Now, this is a person who has hearing problems. I have
Mm.
hearing problems. So, which means like if I have to speak, I have to speak up in order for her to hear me. And I was trying to bring it down, like when my certain businesses that I was discussing doesn't have to come out.
Right.
So now she continued and continued. So finally, I feel like when she feels that she couldn't get to me, and I'm answering her whatever question she gave. I answer her right away, honestly, on a straightforwardness. And then she finally got to the point where she goes, "So why don't you go back where you came from?"
Wow.
That, yeah, and this is recently. So, and I'm like, I said, "You want me to go back to New York?" Because before I got to Mansfield, that's where I'm actually was from, and
Right.
I'm like, "You want me to go back to New York and start over?" 3 years, 4 years, close to 4 years is just like kapoof, gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I said, wow. And then she assumed when I said discrimination was based on my color,
Right.
but not understanding discrimination could be based on age. It could be based on one's creed, gender, and everything else.
Mhm.
But the fact that I was the only black person sitting in the middle of a room full of white people, it turned out the word discrimination can be taken the wrong way if it's coming from me,
Right. Right. Right.
not
Yeah.
coming from them, where it could have been because it could have been like based on age.
Yeah. So so that there's obviously something there, and that's that is definitely an example of some racism right there.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's rampant and it's everywhere. But it's I um I appreciate the fact that we have people that are outside of the race of being black or African American or whichever it is, or a person of color, like we have Nicole, like we have Tyler, who are people who are participating in this, because even the American Civil Rights Movement, wasn't just black people alone. You know what I mean? We needed other folks,
Yes.
to really make it happen. And that's where I bring my attention over here to Tyler, because Tyler, welcome to the program. I know that you are also a core part of this organization. So I'm interested to know, like, how it is that you got involved, and if there are any personal experiences that you had that sort of sparked you to want to be a part of an organization devoted on doing something about it.
Well, I don't remember the exact year. It was before the pandemic. I don't know what it was 2018 when they talked about prison reform and detention of immigrants. But the events that started me to get to think about these movements will go way back to the 60s with the lunch counter sittings
Mm.
because my father wanted to go down but we had he had kids to take care of, and my mother didn't have a career at that time, so he ended up finally, because he had a lot of experience in business, helping black businesses get started in the Boston area,
Oh, okay.
because because that's where his experience was. And it's important, it's important for the cause, because there's economic justice issues as well. And in businesses, a lot, regardless of the size, if there is a profit, often a lot of it goes to the top. So if you have black owned businesses, then the money and stuff that the customers in the community spend stay in the community, as opposed to going to some lavish white owned mansion somewhere in another part of the country or even another part of the world. So it is, so that it took them years to make that decision, but that decision does have merit,
Right. Yeah.
Because we bringing up with it, because the whole thing about lately, there's been a big, there's often been a squeeze on the Black community, but now there's been a squeeze, and even on the immigrant community, but now the squeeze is getting broader than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and therefore it might affect me, or people that I know, that some of them are Black, some of them are immigrants. Others were, have some sort of disability, and those are getting squeezed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then discriminate now, more recently, I have not fearing discrimination based on age. So that's another issue, in that it was the other way around 2 generations ago, at least for white people. It may have been still been an issue for Blacks, because they had discrimination for much longer. But
so activism. So then it's safe to say that with you,
well,
Tyler,
the personal thing that affected me was,
uh-huh.
there was a while I couldn't get health insurance. So,
Oh,
as far
okay.
as the personal thing,
Yeah.
but until Romney, and some people, changed the laws, but then the Republicans reneged on that partway through the Obama administration,
Right.
probably because they wanted to make sure that only white presidents wanted to look good. So, and by that time it was solved for me, but the backtracking would, we might reverse it for me, and certainly for others, and that is still happening, unfortunately.
Yeah. So because
And I think the Black community, as well as immigrant community, and there's all, my family, my sister's experience in the past has been discrimination on the STEM subjects for women, though now that, they're trying to rectify, at least they were trying to rectify it until recently.
yeah.
I'm not sure that's still the case in the last year or two, but
Right. So that's one thing what I was going to say is that, first of all, you've had a lot of experiences that would make you want to be a part of something like this, and I mean, sounds like activism runs in the family as well. So, and that's an awesome thing. I want to talk about the mission and some of the core values of the organization, Nicole, because I mean, the primary purpose of this talk here, which is only the first of many that we will have, is to basically let folks, primarily in Mansfield and throughout Massachusetts and New England, know what it is that the road to diversity and understanding is really all about. And let's get into the mission about building a community care culture rooted in dignity, connection, and autonomy. What does true community care culture look like in everyday life?
For how I envision it,
Mm.
is that we take care of our neighbors and our community, and we don't just think that our neighbors' problems the government should take care of it, or that social worker at town hall or whatever.
Right.
That we can all figure out a way to make sure everybody is taken care of, because we all need each other on a level, all different levels, depending on where we are in life. But we all go through hard times, and you know I was listening to a podcast earlier, so they were talking about just the idea of neighbor and how that crosses like political lines. Like, people don't want their neighbors like taken out of their communities because they're neighbors. This is scary. Like, we care about the people around us, and I think that's just human nature. So I think we need to make it easier to be able to take care of our communities. Like, we're all, busy and stressed, and, feel like we don't have enough. But we do. And we can all give like what we have to give. And sometimes that's enough, and sometimes we need to go ask people who have a little more. And as a community, we should be taking care of each other. It benefits everybody if we're all doing well and we're all able to like be there for each other. And we all have times where we need, and we all have times where we can give. And if we ride that wave together, we can really thrive and connect and build something that can get past surviving and struggle. And I think if we can have more relationships with people, the more people you talk to, like even people who may not think like me, or we have different ideas about things, like at the core of everything, like people care about their families, and they care about safety, and they care about joy and having fun and like good food, and like we can do
We all
that
want the same
together.
thing.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, regardless of who you are, what gender you are, what color you are, I mean, we basically want the same basic things. And I think that's what it's really all about, is just like, hey, everyone should have the same basic stuff, and I want to let you know that SM Enlightenment Radio is 100% behind, what it is that you're doing. And, we're going to keep letting people know about what it is that you're doing, because it not only to let folks in Mansfield in Massachusetts know, but I mean, hey, the world needs to know that there are organizations that are being put together, that people that care, and that people that are about equality out here. And I'm hoping that from doing this, that we spark that energy of the places, so that others will join in.
We do have a lofty vision, and we want to, like, it's not just about like we have organizations that do charity work that are needed, but it's also really important that we empower people to have opportunities and access to autonomy and dignity, and goals and joy, and just like how to get out of survival mode to thriving. And so we talked a lot about this when we were making our mission statement, vision statement, and our values, the three of us, about how important that was. And it is not something we can do alone, of course. And I don't know if this is a good place to talk about the next steps that we're doing, but
Absolutely. Well, that's what we're going to do, because we're closing out now. I wanted to introduce the organization to our audience, our listeners and viewers. But I mean, hey, we're gonna, as I said, we're gonna be back, and we're gonna be talking about more, with the organization. So, what are the plans? What are the immediate plans right now to grow the organization?
our immediate plans is to find other folks in Mansfield who see the value of building community, of and getting people out of survival mode into thriving mode, and empowering our communities. And we will be having we are connecting with MCAN, Massachusetts Community Actions Network, their statewide interfaith organizing group. William Dickerson is co-director of that, and he is working with TRDU, Road to Diversity and Understanding, to train us in community organizing, and to train our community in community organizing. So we are having an introduction to community organizing event on April 10th, from 6:30 to 8:30. We haven't solidified our venue yet, but I should know by tomorrow. And then there will be a second training for those who are like, yes, this is the thing I want to do, on April 16th, from 6:30 to 8:30.
Yeah, and and we're gonna all talk again. And I have you back on the podcast when when we come closer to those dates. But in the meantime, give the folks a way that they can reach out, contact you, follow you, social media, if there's a phone number, if there's a site, how can people find out more?
So we are on Facebook. We have a public page and a private group. And so if you want to join the private group, you just kind of filled out the questions. We do vet people because we want to keep the space safe. Social media can not always be that way. So we vet.
Like they say, it's a jungle sometimes.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
Yeah. So we want to make sure people can find us. But say how you heard about us and why you're interested in joining the Facebook group and whatever. And so we manage that page, and we've been good. Since 2018, we've had the private group, and people are able to post and share about what's going on in the region too. And on the public page, we use that mostly just to advertise things coming up. It's harder to keep up with social media when there are trolls, so we don't often post a lot on that page. You don't really have people able to sit on social media all day blocking and deleting. So that one's not as trafficked, but we do post events. Definitely Abolition Day is all over the page, so right. And you can see that there. I do have an email address I can type or leave somewhere, but it's
and I will also attach that to this video as well. If you have the email address, you could speak it verbally now.
So it's the road to DU. So the THE road ROAD to TO and then the letter DU @gmail.com.
Awesome. We have about 45 seconds left, but on the way out, Marjorie, any closing words that you have, that you'd like to share with folks, or maybe a shout out or anything,
Well, all I can say is one story at a time, and we are here for you to listen. TRDU is actually here to listen to everyone's problem, and one story at a time.
Awesome. And how about you, Tyler? Any closing words?
I just want you to remember the organizing event coming up, and we will, and we're having an Abolition Day this year as well, aren't we?
We are hoping to, yes. Yeah, I think we are. We talked with William about connecting that to an action. So, I think we can make that happen still.
Awesome. Well, hey, and that when you do that, SM Enlightenment Radio is there with you, and we'll make it a great time, a fun time. It's a fun family day, and Abolition Day, folks. All right, be ready for it in October. Okay. Hey, Nicole, Marjorie, Tyler, the road to diversity and understanding. They are here, ladies and gentlemen. And, I want you to stay tuned for more information about what's going on with them. And, I want to thank you guys for coming on the spotlight with me. You know what I'm saying? As it is that I'm supporting you, you're supporting me. And, and back and forth, we all make each other look good.
Yes. Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate the time.
Hey, thank you, and I appreciate you all. So this has been the Spotlight right here on WSME SM Enlightenment Radio. Follow the organization for more info, or just stay hip to the SM Enlightenment Radio Facebook page. We always will keep you informed about what's going on with the road to diversity and understanding. All right. This has been an SM production. Thank you so much for coming out. Peace and blessings. Stay tuned for more SM Enlightenment Radio.